can with this press conference. The reason why we're here today is, as many of you know, over the last 6 years, I've been going around speaking of economic development, speaking of all the great things that we've been doing, working collectively with the elected officials at every level of government here in the Bronx. Everything from job creation, we've been able to work to cut unemployment in the Bronx over the last 6 years by almost half. We've seen over 16,000 units of housing, all built in a sustainable green way under our watch over the last 6 years. We've seen the restoration of our public parks to the tune of over $350 million. We've seen crime continue to decrease and decline while there's been bumps and hiccups in other parts of the city. I'm not saying that life is perfect in the Bronx, but we have seen major decreases in all of the major crime categories. So whatever increases you see in the city of New York, the Bronx has not been a contributor to that. And the reason why we've been seeing this happen is because there's been a collaborative effort, whether it's in specific communities, whether it's collectively in delegations, whether it's in the city council, up in Albany, in the New York State Assembly, in the New York State Senate, working with the governor, working with the mayor, working with the city of New York. We have been able to work in such a smart and strategic way. It really makes me proud. This is what I call planning with purpose. And we all know that in the Bronx, one size does not fit all. And so we've seen a boom in different communities. We've seen different things that we've had to do, working with different organizations in different sectors of the Bronx, but it's all really coming together. So if you look in the South Bronx, in Port Morris, in the southern part of the Grand Concourse, we've worked with the leadership there. We've done rezoning, we've done housing along Webster Avenue, going up all the way to Woodlawn. We've done a lot of great things around Soundview. We've done the new mall in the East Bronx. And so here we are today in Kingsbridge. And if you look at Kingsbridge, between 230th and 238th, you've seen two major developments, two malls. And these serve as sort of bookends along Broadway. And when this was all happening, working with Assemblyman Jeff Dinowitz, which you'll hear from momentarily, State Senator Gustavo Rivera. We have with us Councilmember Andrew Cohen. We will have with us from the Community Board, Sergio Villaverde, and of course Dan Padanek, who's the chair. We have the bid, we have Catherine here, we have Mr. Williams, who's with us here today. So what we felt is that it was time, this happened last year, it was time for us to come together and be proactive about what it is that we felt should continue to happen along this strip. How is it that we can make not only the malls successful, but also make the small businesses successful? How is it that we can make people's shopping experience a whole lot better? How is it that we can have and take advantage of the foot traffic that these two malls are going to bring to this area? BJ's is not even open yet. They open up next month. So we want people to be able to go to the malls, but we also want them to be able to come and spend their money with the small businesses here as well. It's great for this neighborhood. People are paying attention here. We have a lot of professionals here. This is becoming one of the hip neighborhoods, not just in the Bronx, but throughout the city of New York. So what we've done, or what we did, was that we came together. And by the way, for those of you who have not been a part of these conversations, don't get nervous. This is an organic report, and the conversation continues. What we did is that we came up with this analysis as to how is it that we can make the strip better. And among many things, what we felt is that it was time that we work collectively, pool our resources together, so that working with the city agencies, working with the state agencies, we could do new things and beautify and continue to work with the strip. For instance, we need to do more around graffiti removal. We need to do better. We need to have better lighting underneath the L. Maybe we should have, or I think we should have, new parking meters with longer hours, where someone doesn't have to continue to have the mental stress of doing their hair or their nails or going into BJ's if they didn't get a parking spot inside the mall and come back in always every hour or every 2 hours. We want them to have a peace of mind, maybe have multiple hours there so that they can go from store to store and have a peace of mind and have a wonderful shopping experience. We think that it's a disgrace that City Bikes, which has city in front of it, continues to open up new stands throughout the city of New York, and even in New Jersey, which is not New York City. It has not looked at parts of New York like the Bronx. Maybe this would be a good fit in this neighborhood to have a City Bike stand. We believe that there should be a pocket park over the walkway on 230. We believe that perhaps we should have more and more amenities along the strip, like maybe a place to rest, maybe more and more shrubbery and things that can beautify the neighborhood. And so I'm so proud of the work that we've done here. It's been a culmination, there's a culmination of conversation and going back and forth, working with the elected officials. When it's all said and done, I think that it is time for us to be proactive. It is time for us to present this type of analysis to the city agencies so that they know what we want as a borough, so that they know what this community wants, so that they know what will work. And with that said, I just want to bring up our partners in government. I want to begin with the councilman in the area, who is one of the first, if not the first person who said to me, you know what, we should start having this working group in order and really make sure that what is being done here is not only going to be good for the local community, but that invites others so that we can help stimulate the local economy. Ladies and gentlemen, Council Member Andrew Cohen.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
One of the first things, or I think one of the things I always say is that in order for me to be successful as a council member, it's important that I have good partners. And the borough president, and particularly Marlene Centrone at the BOEDC, have been tremendous partners. The borough president mentioned that shortly after I was elected, we walked the entire length between 230th and 238th. We met with shop owners, we talked to shoppers and people using the commercial corridor, and we commissioned this report. And we came up with a lot of great ideas. It's not just very common sense things. The fact that we still have these the old-fashioned parking meters when we have new Muni meters here and they haven't been removed. If you walk the strip, you'll see that there is a total hodgepodge. There's a collection you can see a vintage collection of every kind of garbage receptacle the city has ever used along the mid. And there's an opportunity, I think, to really come up with a unified theme for street furniture. There's a lot of great things in this plan. I look forward to working to implement them. I really want to thank the community board, the bid, all the bid board members. These are real stakeholders in this district. I thought it was important. I moved my office into the bid, and it's really. I think this is, with the new malls opening up, I think this is really going to help turn this area around to the point where it's really a bright spot in the commercial life of the Bronx. So I'm really proud to work with all these stakeholders here and now try to implement the ideas in this report. Thank you very much. I'd like to introduce my partner, the Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz.
Thank you.
Chair of the delegation.
And thank you, Mr. Borough President. It is a great time to be in Kingsbridge. I have lived in this area, I should admit it, I've lived in this area for almost exactly 50 years. I've seen it through great times, I've seen it through some tough times. But Kingsbridge is back, and it's back stronger than ever. We not only have the two new shopping malls, we also have on 225th Street the mall where Target, one of the busiest Target stores in the entire country. So those stores lining Broadway, complementing all the mom and pop stores and the small businesses, I think show the commercial vibrancy of Kingsbridge. We've made efforts over the years to try to strengthen Kingsbridge. The time is ripe now. In the past, we got the decorative lighting through state funding, for example. Back in the 90s, we got uniform decorative street planters and garbage receptacles. Unfortunately, back then, the merchants weren't quite as engaged as they are now, and garbage accumulated, and bad things happened. Now good things are happening. We're trying to make everything look as attractive as possible. Some years ago, we tried to get, and we had funding to get little gates around the tree pits, but some people thought it was a bad idea. But I think now everybody is coming together. Everybody is coming together because they realize that Kingsbridge, and this is not only a commercial hub for this community, this is really the commercial hub for the entire Northwest Bronx. people not only shop here from this neighborhood where our offices are located, people come from Riverdale, from Kingsbridge Heights, from Van Cortlandt Village, from Marble Hill, and all over the place because they know that this is a great place to shop. Personally, I was so sick and tired of going to Westchester to do some of my shopping, and I never go to Manhattan to do my shopping. I want to shop right here in the neighborhood. We have all these great stores that have come in and are coming in, and there is no reason in the world why anybody would not want to shop here. So all of us working together, the elected officials and all the other stakeholders, we know that the next thing we need to do is to make this place as attractive as possible. That means having more trees, having better sanitation, no graffiti, better lighting, all the things that we're trying to do, we can do, it's within reach. And I know that when we talk about some of the hot neighborhoods in Brooklyn and Queens, that's really passé. Kingsbridge is where it's at. This is where people should shop. This is where people should work. We have the greatest transportation you can imagine, and I know that in the coming years, Kingsbridge is going to be a stronger and stronger neighborhood, better than ever. And with that, I'd like to introduce our State Senator, Gustavo Rivera.
Good morning, everyone. Now, there's a couple of things that you need to have good communities. You need to have safe streets. You need to have safe neighborhoods. You need to have places where people can afford to live, so affordable housing. You need public spaces so that children can play, so that people can work out. And you need places where people can buy their morning sandwich. You can smell the bacon from here. Whether people can get their nails done, not me. Whether people can get their hair cut, again, not me.
Maybe you should.
Maybe I should. Whether people can get their taxes done, whether people can go and do some food shopping like at Garden Gourmet just down the street on Broadway. All of these things together is what make great neighborhoods. And what we're here to say today is that this part of our neighborhood, this part of the Bronx, is certainly thriving, and that we've put this report together to say these are some of the things that we could do to make it even better. And the commitment that we have from the City Council, the Assembly, the Borough residents, certainly the community, is we're all going to work together to make sure that we have the resources that are necessary to make this community bring all those things together. Safe streets, places where people can live, places where people can play, and places where people can shop and work. So that is what we're here to do. And this partnership is not only among elected officials, but most importantly, right with our community. And that's why I'd like to introduce the chair of the Community Board 8, which is this district right here, Dan Patterson. Dan.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to see everybody out here today. I'm a lifelong resident of the area, so I am very excited that the Borough President took this initiative to actually look at the shopping district down here in Kingsbridge. I've been coming here basically all of my life. To St. Barbara, which is just up the street, to a lot of different restaurants that are here. I know that this plan is the beginning. I know it's the beginning of a conversation with a lot of different agencies, with residents, and a lot of businesses in the area with how we can improve this district. The goal being that we create a clean, safe, pleasant shopping experience for our residents and even for visitors. What we really would like to do is to keep our shoppers within our community and not lose them to Westchester. And by creating a pleasant atmosphere, we can do that. And I'm excited about this report. I thank the Borough President for taking the initiative.
Thank you. I do want to recognize the fact that this is also an effort where we're working, it was mentioned earlier, safety, and we're joined today by Captain O'Toole from the 50th Precinct. Let's give him a strong round of applause. We've been joined by Ruben, who is representing the Kingsbridge, Riverdale, Van Cortlandt Economic Development Corporation. So thank you for being with us here today. And if someone from the Borough, Farrah, you want to say a few words?
I wasn't prepared.
But that's okay. That's okay.
I promised her no speeches.
I'm here representing KRBC, we're a local community-based organization, and part of, we've always talked about doing beautification in this area, and it's just a breath of fresh air to hear that it's actually starting to happen. And we've always talked about bringing fun events here and just making a place a destination for people to come to. So I thank you all.
Get a picture of it. Thank you, Farrah. Mr. Williams, you want to say a few words on behalf of the bid?
I'm not prepared either.
You're always prepared.
Well, thank you. I'm thinking of talking to the future mayor, but he told me to tone it down right now. The powers from New York State, Albany, New York City, the great borough of the Bronx. I travel to Brooklyn. It's booming over there. A couple of weeks ago, I had dinner in Queens. I didn't recognize it. Our elected officials are here today for a reason. They want to bring the Bronx up. Now, we didn't clean these streets because we knew you were coming here. We have a budget at the bid, and it's quite extensive. These men work 7 days a week to keep these streets clean, and we also have graffiti removal, and I could go on and on and on. But I think I have his name right. The comedian that was in that car accident, Tracy Morgan, gets his haircut half a block up here. I sit with him. But I really do appreciate you gentlemen and ladies coming here today. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you. And we certainly appreciate the effort and the work that the men and women, the members of the BID do on a daily basis to keep this strip and to keep this area nice and clean. Ladies and gentlemen, any questions?
Any questions, anyone? Media? Good? Oh, Gary.
So what's the timing for some of the improvements and where does the money come from? I mean, it's nice to say all those things.
Right,
I'll
so
probably ask you the same thing in 3 weeks.
oh, by the way, we've also been joined by Bob Press, who usually wears another hat, but he's here as member of the Community Board 8. I forgot. The timing, it all depends. So different things would take a different time frame, and they'll come out of different budgets. Some of these things could be done almost immediately. Like Mr. Williams says, the anti-graffiti is something that's ongoing, that we want to continue to augment, working with the City of New York. Some of the working, for instance, if we want to do a pocket park, we will work with the Department of Parks. Maybe some of that I can do from my budget with capital funding. The lighting underneath the L is something that we could either work with some of the state elected officials with multimodal monies or the MTA. So different things will come out of different budgets and will take different timing depending on when the funding is allocated. Things like the removal of the old parking meters, that could happen almost immediately. Fixing the muni meters so that we can prolong the timing there. That can happen almost immediately with no funding, right? It doesn't take necessarily extra funding to do that. So this is ongoing, like I said, and different fundings will come from different areas. That's why you see this group of representation from different levels of government. And certainly we'll be working on making sure the city agencies who already do a lot of this. For instance, do you see the repaving of the streets? DOT already does that. The question becomes whether they are prioritizing the Bronx, and in this case, Kingsbridge versus other areas of the City of New York. So we're just holding their feet to the fire. Yes.
Good.
How you doing, Ernie? I'm Mays from Motown Sports Complex. I know we spoke a little about the improvement of the Kingsbridge community, but we also want to focus on the kids and provide more activities and stuff like that for the kids. And I want to know if there's any plans or to kind of boost up kind of like the activities for kids in the community.
We're always working on that. We always working together to make sure that we not only get the universal pre-K program augmented here. So when the mayor talks about it, we want to make sure that we have adequate seating. And this is an effort not just in this area, but borough-wide. We continue to, like I said earlier, put funding into our public parks. We continue to put funding into our educational system, working with nonprofits, funding the nonprofits, doing all that we can. This particular press conference, though, is about how is it that we work with the business community locally.
If I could add, though, just the pocket park around Albany Crescent also will be create additional green space for our young people. So that
Anybody else? Media?
Yeah, I have a quick question. I don't mean to sound demeaning or anything, but why would the average person from outside of the borough or even outside of the city care about the economic growth in this area?
Care about what?
The economic growth in this specific area.
Because they would be smart to do so. Because we have some of the best facilities here. If you go to Garden Gourmet,
Do that.
and you go to Garden Gourmet, what other shop in the city is better than that? If you go to some of our spots like the Bronx Ale House, you would have a good time. So if you want to get a full New York experience, if you want to get the real authentic feel of New York, the Bronx is the place to go.
And you know why else? Because this neighborhood has reasonably priced housing. People are starting to move in this area, and we have a lot of housing being developed in this community, and we have excellent public transportation to get to that other borough down there. And what that means is that people are starting to flock to Kingsbridge the way in past years they may have moved to Inwood or Astoria or some other communities.
And those are the permanent residents. But you got to understand that people already figuring out that the Bronx is the place to be. That's the reason why we saw tourism increase by 14% last year alone. So people are starting to realize that while we love our Yankees, and of course we take great pride in the Bronx Zoo and the Botanical Garden, that we're much more than that. They're coming to play golf here. They're coming to our Orchard Beach. They're coming to our restaurants. The Epicureans throughout the city of New York and nationally and internationally know that in order to get some of the best foods, you got to come to the Bronx.
What would you say the local residents who are concerned about the city's gentrification?
This is not about gentrification, right? I think that's more when Jeff spoke about affordability. I think that locally, people appreciate when other folks come to patronize. We're not talking about moving in here, even though we're seeing our professional class grow and grow. But what we're saying is that we want to make sure that locally, that you have a better experience, that you have better restaurants, that you have clean streets, you have better lighting, that you feel safer. And so I think what we're hearing locally is that it's a good thing, especially from our merchants, when they can make a profit from those that live here locally, but also augment that by having folks visit outside. I think that locally people get a kick out of someone who's coming from Manhattan or Brooklyn when they sit next to them in the Bronx Ale House or in Buffalo Ways. And they say, well, where are you from? Well, I'm from Manhattan. Oh, thank you for visiting us. I think people really get a kick out of that. We take great pride in the fact that people want to come and visit us, that they want to come and spend their money. And then lastly, I don't have to say what this means for us in terms of job growth and job creation. So locally, a lot of the people who work here, who live here, work here, and if you get more and more businesses, that's better for their bottom line.